think you should think about the traction that you get with your interviews and the people you're interviewing. So when you say, like, oh, I have this person, it's a good leeway into me, like, support my Patreon. I have these cool people, and I want to keep having a space to record these awesome people.
Yeah. Have you ever had, like, people that you think don't like you?
All the time. I'm not a very black and white person, but I think people are very black and white towards me. So absolutely.
Do you have a lot of haters?
I wouldn't say haters, but I feel like it's either like you like my personality or you just
don't.
do not. Yeah.
That's
and
funny.
I've dealt with that my whole life, like even with adults, like not liking me as a kid because I was way too smart for my own good or something.
You're a know-it-all?
In a way, but not really. I still like to learn. I'm a student to life, honestly. But yes, I feel like
maybe adults thought you really could know it all.
Yeah, adults thought I was knowing too much. But and I talk way too much, which I don't even mind at this point. But yeah, I think I've definitely dealt with people just either not really liking me or fucking with me, or them being like, okay, they're cool.
Yeah, it's weird because, like, I am an acquired taste type of person.
Amen.
Like, I know that I'm not a overall general type of, like, everyone's flavor person.
I am okay with that. Honestly, if you are the type of person that doesn't like me, obviously you're protecting me from something, because
I'm usually okay with that, but when it comes to, like, this podcast, I have to accept that I'm definitely an acquired taste. So most people don't like me anyway. So I feel like this podcast is going to take a lot of work to build with, like, people donating to a Patreon.
I think I actually read this, like, artist, I don't know what you would call it, like a little excerpt about how you're not making art for your friends. So when your friends don't like your art, or they don't buy your art, or they don't, like, support it necessarily, like, you have to understand who you're catering to.
Yeah.
And cater to those people. It might not be your friends or your family, but if you're trying to reach the public in some way, cater to the people that want to listen to people talk.
Right.
Cater to the people that want to hear about the people who you are bringing on your podcast, and those are the people that will support you the most.
Essentially, those are your people, right? So people create, like, in little communities and stuff, you create, like, your community for the people that are similar to, or can get, they can even just, they don't even have to be similar to you, but just can understand you.
Yeah.
And that, those are your people, you know?
They're the people that will absorb what you're trying to put out there in a way. And that doesn't really
or even be open.
Yeah, and it doesn't really always have to be your friends. Your friends will still be there. They are on a different level, but, like, what you're trying to convey and, like, who you're trying to reach will reach those people. Like,
right.
Like you said, you're an acquired taste, so those people that have that taste will look for that and find it, and that's available for them.
And I think it's, like, a common thing. I don't know if you ever hear, like, people that end up making it big, or, like, doing something big with what they were passionate about, or what they were working hard on. They always end up saying that people come back, and once you're successful, that's when people show up.
Absolutely.
And then it's like, that's why you don't forget, like, who supported you initially, you know? You keep it real.
Because they want the secret. They want the sauce, or they want the, like, what did you do? What was that one thing that kind of, like,
like,
changed your path, or made you, like, spark? Like, what was it? And sometimes you really don't have those answers. It's just kind of like you're consistent with what you're doing and the art form that you're putting out, and that's really the one thing that's going to have the most growth, because you're being the most consistent with it.
Yeah.
So
we'll see where this goes. I don't know if I'm going to do a Patreon. Long story short.
I think you should do the Patreon.
But anyway, I like how initially this podcast episode was supposed to be dedicated towards Disney Channel original movies.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if I prepared enough for it. So now we're just kind of going off of all these conversations we've had for the past couple hours. I think we should start somewhere in one of those conversations. What was the most like what do you like enjoy talking about the most? Like in having deep conversations with people or like what are your
Wow, that is
topics?
a great question. I would say mostly just like overcoming adversity in a way, and or just like what gives them their mojo, their motivation, like what curates their day to day
Yeah.
almost. There's something very interesting about like how people were raised affects their lives and how they like grow out of that, or they like come into themselves in certain ways, or they just have an upbringing that kind of forced them into this way or something. And that's very interesting because everyone's different, but
Yeah.
there are so many similarities in that conversation
Mhm.
that it almost doesn't make you feel as special or as bleak or as lonely
True.
as, some things or the world can kind of make you feel.
Yeah.
And
Like you're so much different than everyone else when in
yeah,
reality most people are thinking or going through the same things.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
One thing I enjoy talking about people, and you actually kind of mentioned it too, is when you're talking about growing and changing and how you're
mm,
in like a phase right now where you're kind of being forced to do all that all at
yeah,
once, like on multiple levels of like your life.
yeah. I would say that like change is really interesting in so many aspects, like new growth, coming into certain things, new experiences, like
Have you heard that, I think it's like every 7 years you kind of change or
yeah,
something?
yes, the taste bud thing
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
I mean, I feel like that's very accurate in a way.
yeah. Hmm.
Um, I think about 7 years ago, and I think of the shit that I was doing, and I don't do a lot of those things. I do some things, like the
Yeah.
common things. I still smoke weed, still do art, still do all those little things. But like, yeah, they're just even the way we were talking about, like when people were kind of throwing dirt on you, when you don't even want to like understand where they're coming from to respond to that. Like things like that have changed. Where it's like I am the same person, but in a way I'm not, and I really appreciate the levels in the coming into myself
Hmm.
more. I really appreciate that, but I really love seeing it through another perspective and another person as well.
Yeah, and I think it's important. I like to hear stories of people who they're staying true to who they are to their core, but they're also bettering themselves in many other
Yeah.
ways. And I like hearing when people are aware of that and can talk
Hmm.
about that. Um, and usually people that are like overly self-aware are people that can do that. Like, I think you can do that obviously because you're self-aware, overly
Very.
self-aware.
It's honestly, it feels
So I
sometimes like a
believe in
crutch.
you.
it's yeah, I believe in myself too. I know that I have like a lot of the tools that I need inside of me. It's sometimes getting stuck in that like cycle of self-awareness that really is the stressor for me,
Yeah.
because like processing so much at once really puts your brain in such a whirlwind, and you're just like, how do I actually respond to all of these things, or how do I respond to at least one of these things?
Hmm.
And that's where it becomes like a struggle slash, I don't know. It feels like a washer machine of things, because at the end
Yeah.
of it, it's like this new fabric.
Yeah, and also I think one of the things I find challenging is when I'm trying to better myself or change for the better, like I also am struggling to like not drift too far from who I am
Mm,
or to, kind of like silence the inner child in me
mm,
because I don't necessarily want to hide that or I don't want to ignore like my past. So it's like hard to kind of simultaneously change without completely changing
amen.
and still staying true to who you are.
I think changing is so like such an evolution and it's
Yeah.
ever evolving. And I think that instead of focusing on like toxic self-care or just doing like
Can we also
self-isolation and
talk
stuff.
about like toxic self-care, because
Oh my God, it's so
it's like
prevalent.
the
Like
last like
this,
2-3 years, I feel like there's just so much like, yeah, like
yeah, like everybody wants
bullshit.
to be healed. Like you will never be healed. There is constant healing, just like you will constantly learn something
Yeah.
new every day. And if you feel like you're healed, you're still like there's still something that will come up that you will possibly need to process and heal from. And I think that these like hot words really make people feel like they need to be complete in some way. But honestly, I don't think we're really complete until we die.
Yeah.
Like life is to live, and as like we should really just be living. Really. But
Yeah.
I don't think the whole like you need to be healed or and everything. Like healing is a constant process, just like we are constantly changing and constantly learning new things. And like
Mm-hmm.
it's you just have to keep up with it. If you're not healing from something that somebody did to you, like you can heal from something that maybe you did to protect yourself or did in a space that maybe you like code switched in a spot, or you're at work and you have to keep cordial and you really want to go off on somebody. Like
Yeah.
those are things that you also too can like grieve and change and accept too. Like those are all very valid things. It's not just like people or
Yeah.
experiences, but like I said earlier, people are like living through experience. So a lot of responses to things come from experiences that people have had.
Yeah. I agree. I also think I'm sick and tired of people saying go to therapy as if like that's the end all be all,
Mm-mm.
that's the solution, and once you go you're gonna be fixed.
Hell no.
Like I can't stand when people ignorantly say that and
Yeah,
say
that is
you
very
need,
ignorant.
or they try to invalidate you and say you need therapy, like you need to go to therapy because what you're saying is completely invalid and you're wrong and you're stupid and you're crazy. And I don't like that because it's toxic.
I would also say that I've seen the back end of it where people kind of shame you for going to therapy. And it's
Exactly.
like, I'm just
Both
actually,
ends.
I would like this professional to help me process all of this self awareness
Right.
because my friends are not well equipped to handle every little thing.
Right.
But, like, in a way, that's what they're getting paid for. They're
Mhm.
literally there to help you process. And sometimes it's okay to admit that you need help processing,
Mhm.
but that is not the end all at all.
Right.
And they're just there as an aid. They're not there to cure or heal you like that. So in a way, it's just like it's really what you would like to work on, and how can they support you by processing those thoughts so you can get them out of your mind, so you can stop deflecting and repressing and projecting and all those other
overanalyzing.
and
Yeah.
being like deflective in a way. Like, you know, it's important to do that, and I think they help you. They aid you.
Yeah,
for
and
sure, in a way.
And it's like it's just frustrating because like you're saying, when people are shaming people for going to therapy, that's, I feel like that's been a like a long time thing where people do that. It's newer since therapy is like it's progressing and more people are accepting it. It's newer for people to ignorantly say like go to therapy, you need help, you're crazy. But you're right, like therapy is an aid. It's supposed to help you become aware, or like things that you miss maybe from, you know, maybe you're overly self-aware, but somebody on the outside can help you see a different version of yourself. Exactly. And I think that's what it's there for, right? Like to help you see other things that maybe you can't.
Yep, in a very neutral, calming way, because sometimes even when you're talking to friends, like maybe you might not get your point out because the conversation goes and we have ADHD or something.
Yeah.
Maybe you're trying to talk to like a person or a partner and it's just like not really kind of resonating with them, so they don't receive it the way that you're getting. I think it's a very good way to kind of get your thoughts out to like a blank page that can respond to you.
Right.
In a way.
Yeah, I agree.
They don't have all the answers, but they can at least like approach you in a calm way to help you understand like where the flaw necessarily is in that,
or
way.
Even just like to provide a safe space for you to just ramble and talk and say your thoughts, and like then maybe once you say it, you're like, oh, actually, that's really stupid. Why was I thinking
Yeah,
about
exactly. Yeah.
that? Or even like think of new thoughts where sometimes like my therapist used to ask me questions and then I'd be like, I've never thought this before, but now I'm going to say it
Yes.
right now. Like, so
That's what I'm
prepare
like.
because like the language is going to be terrible.
That's exactly how I talk to my therapist. I actually really love that. It's just like, I like that you asked me this question because I actually haven't thought about this in a really
Because
long
nobody ever
time.
asked me this shit and nobody
Yes.
cares.
Serious. Thank you. Seriously. Like,
Yeah.
and that's okay, but still, when you're processing it all, you're like, oh, they don't.
Nobody cares. It's kind of funny though, because like sometimes I think when you don't center yourself, you do really think that everybody really cares about you and
Mm,
that everyone's going to see you a certain way or everyone's going to judge you and criticize you. And in reality, nobody really does care. And I love that these little hands are lifting your glasses.
the squirrel hand is assisting me.
um, but yeah, and like nobody really cares. Everyone's like too focused about like on themselves and like their lives
Yeah.
that nobody really cares. And I feel like the ones that do are probably like, I don't know, maybe they
I,
shouldn't care.
I feel like there are people that care, but there's one thing that I have learned, and I'm learning more about individuals, is that one, don't take anything too personal from them because everyone's experiencing their own world and their own life. And
Mm-hmm.
I think I respect my friends more giving or coming to me or letting me have the capacity that they're able to receive me in than me overextending myself and feeling like they're not there or that they don't care for me.
Yeah.
So I feel like with my friends, like when we talk or we have that moment and we can actually like have a conversation about something or discuss something or vent or whatever like that, I'm more appreciative that we had that space to get that out and the feedback behind it. And like maybe we don't talk after that or something like that. But I think it's kind of something that I really appreciate is that I do have friends that care in their own capacity.
Right.
And that still matters because even if I feel like they don't care about this subject, they were there for me when I needed them in this
Yeah.
subject or blah, 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 so on
Yeah.
and so
I
forth. But
agree. And to have friends for other things that you can, like for me, I have friends that I can vent to about certain things,
exactly, yeah.
and then it's just like being able to recognize that and be aware, like, you're not gonna ultimately have a person unless I don't know, maybe you are. Maybe some people are lucky. I have Jesse to be able to kind of share everything
Mm-hmm.
with. But as far
It's
as like
beautiful.
friends go, like, yeah, like I'm gonna talk to this person about, this, or I'm gonna talk to this
Yeah.
person about, something they can understand.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it's nice to have those types of friendships and be able to not entirely like trauma dump though,
Yeah, yeah. I think with my friends, like I think I've gotten to the point where I'm meeting friends where it's like, yeah, I have certain things that I can talk to certain people about, but I'm starting to become more comfortable with talking to my friends who I'm actually choosing to be in my life about like real life situations, like getting older and how does that make us feel, and like really weird shit like financial shit where people like that's really a huge thing that like even friendships, it's really hard to talk about finances. And I'm realizing like some things you can kind of be honest with certain people about and it's not a thing, but like I feel like I'm not getting what I want out of the friendship if I'm not kind of being able to express myself freely.
Yeah.
So I try to choose friends where maybe a little bit of everything is okay.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not, that's fine, but like I would enjoy like a well-rounded conversation about things. And sometimes people aren't always open with those things and that's okay too. But like you were saying, certain things with certain friends, I definitely have friends that I just like talk to about certain things or games or art,
Yeah.
you know. And it is interesting to have those dynamics for sure. But I do like to have really good conversations with my friends and like we talk about deep shit all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's a-
I completely enjoyed all of these conversations we were having, like
yeah.
throughout like the kitchen over here. Like I was just like, I am a person that enjoys just deep, meaningful conversations. I hate
Yeah.
small talk. I don't thrive at small talk. I'm actually very awkward and terrible at just like being. I'm also really bad at first impressions. So like
How
I
so?
I just can't, because first impressions are usually small talk. Like it's
Oh,
usually
okay,
like
like how are
just very
you?
general, very like
But you could be that person that leads with the deep question and blow people's fucking minds because that's really what we need in this world is people that are going to ask the question of not just how are you. That is, I actually think how are you is a very valid question. I don't think it's very much small talk. I
mhm.
think more people need to ask people how they actually are
How
doing.
are you really doing?
Yeah, like and actually like how are you doing? How are you feeling? Type
Yeah.
question, not necessarily like just a small talk version, but like actually enjoy the detail behind it. Like when people ask me that question, I usually give them a paragraph and they're like, "Oh, I'm good." And it's just like, "Okay."
I over explain. So when people ask me, how are you? I'm just like, I just moved and I just had COVID. And like, you'll never believe like this fucking crazy
Yeah.
like year already. And nobody cares. Nobody asks for it, you know? Like some
That's
people
me.
are like, some people seem or pretend to be interested, and then some people are just like, okay, just want to see how you're in. How are you doing?
Yeah, I fall victim to that all the time. It's just like, but when I ask how you're doing, I actually would love the same type of
Like you care.
response. Like, yeah, like actually, how are you doing? How are you feeling?
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that's just a good way to kind of approach it. I do believe that that can be small talk as well, but I don't think the way I perceive it is small talk.
Mm.
I actually appreciate the question a lot. I wish more people would ask me.
So how are you doing?
We've already talked about that. I think I'm doing very well right now. Very well,
Okay.
if I'm being honest. Yeah. I think this, like, after 29, like turning 30, and now I'm turning 31 this year, has felt really good. I feel like like a new person.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I've been working on so many things, art wise, new job, like a new career, like
New
doing,
home, basically.
yeah, whole new
Vibe.
home, yeah, vibe at home. Um, Doing so many art shows, like so proud of myself for putting myself out there. I used to be really shy and timid, and I still kind of am.
What kind of art are you putting out?
Ugh. Um,
Or do you not want to talk about
oh
it?
no, I'll talk about my art. So
Okay.
I did a collection. Actually, I'd like to talk about it. So I did an abstract collection of like dried paint palettes. So I do like sustainable upcycling art. Um, and I named this whole entire collection that I just did after all of the women in my life that have died.
Mm.
So from my great grandmom to my great aunts to my cousin to my sister, each piece has kind of a representation of them in a way, but also I just wanted to honor them by kind of naming what I think were works of art
Mm-hmm.
in human form into art form
Okay.
physically.
So you're actually painting or?
So what it is, they're like molds of dried paint
Okay.
that I compose into like things. It's really hard to describe
Okay.
abstract art. That's why. It's just
So you create these like textures of
yes. I
paint.
was just going to say that. It's more textural based.
Yeah, I love texture art. I
Me
used to paint.
too.
And so when I would create things, like I would love having like texture. I like
Yeah.
feeling things. I like feeling lumpies. I
Mm-hmm.
like
I have a
feeling
lot of mediums.
globs.
Yep, I build. So
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
use a lot of like builders, which actually create texture.
Mhm.
I use like a high gloss builder. I use a lot of other mediums. But really what I do is like I create textures and forms from dry paint, and then I pretty much apply them to the canvas.
Mhm.
And I also use like other resources that I like upcycle. So like trash art, like think trash art in a way. But yeah, that's just been my movement for like the
Okay.
past couple of years, and I didn't really know how to like market that or put that out there.
Mhm.
I honestly didn't think it was good enough. Still kind of have my qualms about that, but I really want to manifest like being more comfortable with my art and just allowing people to see it and just like absorbing it, because I think it is very valid to have my art showcased.
Yeah.
And I think
That's
I
really
deserve
cool.
to, yeah, I deserve to feel what it feels like. And I've been wanting to do it for so long.
It's almost like a way of like, it's a displaying your art. It kind of exposes you.
Yes.
It makes you feel a little naked, like somebody is seeing, this is what I created in my own time, and this is like my creative expression here.
Yeah.
And please don't hurt my feelings.
Literally, that's exactly how I felt as soon as you asked me about describe your art. My brain was just like, don't tell her.
It's sad, but like when I used to paint, I remember displaying my art and I felt super like
it makes
vulnerable.
You self-conscious.
I was so self-conscious. I was like, oh my God, everyone hates it. Nobody even cares about it. Like, you know, like I was overthinking, and I just I would say that time shortly after I kind of just stopped painting. Like
that has happened to me before too.
I was so discouraged, and I just felt like, I don't know, like I just felt very like exposed and self-conscious, and I didn't want to feel that anymore. So I just kind of stopped doing it more or less. And yeah, it's kind of a sad part of my life.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
but that, I understand that. I think every creative has that same feeling, especially about like if they want musicians specifically. Like think of like who they're putting it out to. They want the world to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Artists have this like actual people that put stuff on canvas or make things. Like you have to have such a level of confidence when doing that.
Yeah,
it really is like a part of your soul. It's really like exposing a part of your soul, and it really does reflect about a lot of the evolution of your life. Like I used to draw a lot in high school, and now I don't draw at all. And like it's because I used to think that my drawings were really bad.
Yeah.
And then like I'll take art classes and I'll get super humbled because I don't do that style of art or that use that medium, and I'm just like, but I am an artist. And it's just, it really humbles you because sometimes when I do other forms or use other mediums, I don't feel like an artist. Like when people want me to draw like a portrait or something, it's like, I cannot do that for you. And then I started like kind of finding my niche in my own art and kind of realizing that I like to be more tactile, and I like textures, and I like feeling, and I like being messy. So like I like to build, and I like to get messy, and I like my art to have like movement and so many elements to it and almost look very chaotic. And to me, that feels so good. And it took me a while, and I really hate to say this, but like I think I got more of a confidence boost seeing people create art that literally looks like mine on Instagram and being able to be like, if this motherfucker got 40,000 likes, I can go showcase to maybe 50 people, and maybe 3 people might like my artwork. Yeah. You know, like it gave me just a little bit more of a I can do this. Yeah, I can do this. Yeah. But it took a long time, and I think it's because I never really wanted to sell my art. I just wanted people to see it and like it. And then I realized that maybe if people like it, they might also want to buy it. Yeah. So yeah, the commodifying thing is still like a slippery slope for me. I'm not like super big on commodifying on my art, but I definitely have been leaning more towards just like showcasing it. And that's good. I really love those feelings of like actually just people seeing it and responding to it. It feels really good. Really good.
It's funny that you say that you have pieces of dried paint, because I think this is something that we have in common as far as like just being creative, or also maybe trying to be resourceful. Like I was telling you, I have all these glass jars and stuff. I also used to collect, I still have it. It's like a paint bucket of dried paint. Yeah. And it's just like pieces, because sometimes in my head I was like, I'll create something out of these textures and just like put paint over it. And I did actually for a couple of paintings that I did. But I would just like hoard paint, like dried paint.
Yeah, I feel you.
and I like didn't want to throw it away. And there's some that I actually did throw away because I had like a little too much.
That's where the art stemmed from too.
Yeah, but it's just funny because like you're also like a hoarder of napkins and jars. No, not jars. I'm jars and napkins.
I do have many jars and cups.
Yeah.
And honestly, I use water bottles in my house. I don't even use a cup at all.
So it's just kind of funny because I think like that's where maybe we have something in common of like just being creative, like maybe trying to be resourceful too.
I was going to say, I think also our hoarding tendencies also probably help that same type.
That's why I also loved like being at Steve's house.
Oh my God, right?
Because he's like,
it's like
a hoarder, but like he's also not a hoarder. He likes to be resourceful. And he repurposes things, and it's like he makes it beautiful, you know?
It's so inspirational. Yeah. I literally tell him every time he posts something, I'm like, dude, I just would love to be like you when I get older. Like,
yeah, right? He's living the life.
Really, he is.
He's living his best life. Jealous.
Yeah, he is. I am very jelly. If there's one person I am jelly of, it's definitely
Steve.
He has a cool dog. He has a cool house.
Oh, I love
his cool house. He's just living in the lap of luxury. The man's always in fucking flip-flops.
Yeah.
Like, that's how you know he's really living.
I know. I want to be like that.
Me too.
I aspire to be like Steve.
Me too. I want to do Mosaic casually on a Monday. God.
I know, but we have to make money and like do all these things to be responsible and be an adult.
One day.
We
got like 30 more years. Can you last that long?
I don't think so. I don't really want to live that long, if I'm being honest.
I don't want to live past 80, honestly.
I don't want to live past 70.
I mean, I don't think I want to see much more history in my 30s, if I'm being quite frank. That's probably a off topic, maybe an unpopular topic, but I'm really tired of living through history, and I don't want to continue life just
like as a millennial, or like just like what do you mean by that?
Well, like all of the events that are constantly happening,
pandemics, recessions.
Yeah. Man, I'm feeling like my great grandma without having 3 children at like 16.
Yeah,
and my husband.
There's like too much going on. The world needs to chill. Yeah, I know. Almost every week, there's always something historic, and then it's just like the first woman of like, you know, it's like, God, just let it be.
Yeah, I'm kind of just like, I don't want to be like insensitive to anything that's going on at all, because I am very aware and very sensitive to that, and I see it.
Right. How much progress we've come, and like we've come a long way.
And the work we need and all the bullshit that's going on. I'm very aware of that stuff. I mean, for me personally, like, I couldn't imagine being 80 and still like hearing all this really awful, sad things, or living in this economy that we're in now or something like that. Like, I don't know if I would make it.
It's a terrible
would
economy.
I be able to afford care or a home? Like, if I don't have kids, who the fuck's gonna take care of me? Oh, I'm gonna be a homeless 80-year-old. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm gonna go find an opium den and just. Actually, that's where I'll live.
That's the only. No, I'm not gonna say only, but in my head right now at this moment, that would be the only reason why I would have a kid, is because
to take care of you.
Yeah, like you see and hear all these stories of people that get neglected.
No, we really are great grandmas.
They get abandoned, like they get left at just like homes, and like nobody takes care of them, and then the nurses mistreat them. Yep. I've heard so many stories.
They have nobody to defend them.
I've heard so many stories where people are abusing the elderly at these homes, and it's freaking sad.
They should all burn.
Yeah. Like, it's the same thing as if you're like abusing a baby. Like,
truly,
you know? Like,
truly. That's what really frightens me about getting old in this country. I might get old in another country. I think I could do that.
Yeah.
I could get old in like France or something, or maybe even like Poland or somewhere over there. I don't know, somewhere where they like black people, and I can grow old there.
Yeah,
and have decent health care, or maybe even Italy, where they last a long time.
It's true. They live long in Italy.
Pasta. I'll help them make some pasta. I'm not a great baker, but I'll get to it.
I actually heard that in a certain part of Italy, they're paying you to live there or something because they want you to procreate.
Yeah, they do that in a lot of those areas. That's actually quite sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just to kind of boost their economy and stuff. Yeah, I don't really see why they want our capitalist mother, like ourselves, to go over there and do that for them. They should have
It's really
people
sad.
just move down the boot. Just move people around. The
The
people
boot.
from there. You don't need us.
Yeah, it's crazy how far we've come into capitalism. Me and Jesse were just talking about this, how like back in the day, it's heard of, and my parents are, have witnessed it. They used to make things that would last longer, and they would
Oh,
make
yeah.
things of quality, right?
Absolutely. That's why
And
everything was so large.
yeah, and so now we're in this, capitalism has evolved. So
Mm-hmm.
now we're in a thing where it's just like we need people to keep spending money. So we need things to
Oh my
actually
God.
not last longer.
Batteries are like $10 fucking dollars.
Yeah.
Everything needs a fucking battery. I literally hate when I get a battery powered anything.
Yeah.
Just like, why the fuck are we doing this?
Right.
It's like a bill.
Or even just like a vacuum, an iron, like
Yeah.
nothing is built to last. And it's really sad because then we just throw those things away
Mhm.
and then it just goes into the environment and then we're just spending more money.
Yep. And we're constantly being forced upgrades.
Yes.
And it's just like, why are we upgrading when you could just make it like this to begin with?
Right?
It is really kind of annoying.
It
honestly.
is crazy. And I hate it. And it makes me sick thinking about it.
Oh, definitely. That's why I'm like, I don't really want to be old in America.
Right?
I don't want to have to think about this shit.
Like, I am grateful that I live here and it's cool to live in LA, honestly. LA is my only home. It's like the only thing I know.
Yeah.
But there are some things where I'm just like, yeah, I don't know if I can be here as an old person. I don't even know if I'll survive. I won't have enough money by that time.
I feel like, I don't know, obviously LA is not my only home and I've left my home to live here. And I just felt like when I left home, I still love my hometown and my home state. I rep it really hard. But I just really felt like I needed more chance or opportunity. And I feel like once I feel that way here, I probably will make a movement.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to leave the country and see what it's like. Also, there's a hesitancy there because not all areas accept Black people. And that's just the reality of that. But I definitely want to.
What countries have you thought about?
I really am interested in Greece.
Okay.
I really have always liked Greece. It's always been, since I was a kid, I've always said I wanted to go to Greece. I do like Italy as well.
Mm-hmm.
Not too sure how they are in Italy. I know people in Paris are not the kindest to Americans as well as Black people. But yeah, I honestly would like to live in Germany too, or in like what is that?
Yeah, I heard Germany is like Berlin.
Yeah, Berlin. Excuse me. Yeah, like Berlin. Yeah, those places are very progressive. They're super convenient, and like you can either use public transportation, bike, walk, whatever. Childcare is really cheap. But yeah, they take care of their people, kind of like Canada in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, they take care of their people.
Would you ever consider Canada?
Canada is kind of like LA. Well, some areas in Canada are kind of like LA. I don't know because I really just want sunlight. I'm so tired of being in the cold. I don't mind the snow, but I just don't think I want to be in a seasoned area. I don't want all 4.
Yeah.
Give me like 3.
I mean that's a thing. Like I love LA and I also can't be in cold environments. Like I can't even breathe. So being in a cold environment is going to be terrible for me. Also I get like seasonal depression, so I need to see the sun.
Amen.
So Yeah, I
My,
kind of have to stay here because I don't think anywhere else is gonna work for me. I mean, people say Florida, and then I'm like, I
it
hate Florida.
rains every day
Never been
there.
there, but I already hate it. Like,
It's not that bad. I will say Florida's a very nice place to vacation to. Living there is interesting.
nah,
But it rains every day and it's humid as a fucking bitch there. Like,
I'm good.
it's very humid
I
there.
hear way too many stories about like crazy ass shit that happens
Yeah,
in
you wouldn't
Florida.
actually survive there if you
It's
can't
like way
breathe
too
already.
common.
It's very thick air down there.
Yeah. Well, Mexico's thick air too, and where my mom's from, it's really humid and tropical.
Uh,
It's not too bad, honestly. It feels like good and it feels like better for my breathing. But I don't know. We'll see as I get older. I'm starting to come up with like all these like allergy problems. I don't want to talk about this.
as we get older, we just start to disintegrate.
Yeah. And you start to smell weird.
Literally, I feel like I smell so many things nowadays.
Me too.
The fuck is that?
I feel like I smell so many weird things that I thought I was like it never smelled like that before.
I don't think on my body necessarily. Sometimes my
No, just like
in general,
yeah, in
yeah,
general.
yeah. Like I swear, as soon as I walk into an area that's like maybe kind of around a lot more homeless people or something, it just smell. I could smell the urine, and I know that they're kind of close. Not talking bad about them, but like it's like in the air, and it's
Yeah, it's
or
definitely
like
a strong odor.
yeah, I can. I have a very sensitive nose and a very sensitive palate, and I've just noticed so many more things.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Um, I did still want to like touch on some Disney Channel movies.
I was just gonna ask you about the Disney Channel movies.
What's the last one you saw? Because you're the one that told me that the Disney Channel original movies were on Disney Plus.
Yes, they are.
So,
Disney Plus is actually a really great platform.
Yeah. What's the last one you saw?
Damn. I honestly haven't watched TV in a while, but the last one I don't watch. I feel like it was one of the Disney like musical movies,
Mm,
and I think it probably was Mulan because
okay.
that's that shit. Mulan is that gas.
She has a good song. I would admit that.
Every song in the first movie hits, and in the second movie actually is really good
I never
compared to
seen
all.
it.
Are you not a sequel person?
I guess I would say I'm not really a sequel person. Yeah.
This sequel is not that bad.
Okay.
It's not that bad.
I feel like Disney is also really bad with sequels.
They are. But
They
this
like
one's not that
almost
bad.
like ruin and murder the original storyline.
I will say, if you didn't like the live action Mulan, which was a depiction of a very
Didn't see
ancient
it.
story. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't like it because they didn't understand it. They thought it was going to be like the cartoon,
Yeah.
but in real life action. But instead, it was the legitimate story from like 13 AD or some shit.
Right.
And they did not understand the concept. It's like, if you actually Google the story, it was very true to the story that is actually that people will tell in the area. Yeah, they were just thinking, they're like, where was Mushu? Where was this? It's like, no, that's not what they were trying to do.
Where's Eddie Murphy at?
It's like, why did you think? But yeah, a lot of people were disappointed in that one.
Oh.
I still enjoyed it though. I really enjoyed Mulan. Mulan and Pocahontas are my favorite.
I was telling you this movie that I saw. It was a Disney Channel original movie. It's called True Connection. And it's a movie about some girl who wants to do film. And her brother is like on the spectrum. And so and I don't know how you feel about Shia LaBeouf, but like he killed it in this Disney Channel original movie.
I'm thinking of a different movie with Shia LaBeouf.
The Even Stevens movie?
No, what is it called? He's in a movie with, I think the guy has Down syndrome or autism.
Or maybe it's the same one. Oh wait, Shia LaBeouf has autism?
No.
Oh, okay.
He's with a gentleman that has
okay.
Oh, it's a Peanut Butter Falcon.
Never heard. Yeah.
I
was like, is she gonna talk about like Rain Man or something?
Oh my god,
So
That's
Shia
crazy.
LaBeouf is like, he probably has autism. They don't disclose like what his like challenge is.
Okay.
But he is on the spectrum, and she wants to be in film, so she starts recording. Well, she's always been recording like throughout her life. She records videos of her family and her and like her brother,
Okay.
and she submits like this kind of like a little bit of a documentary about her life, and she wins like this award, and it's basically sharing like, you know, my life isn't normal, like I live with my brother and sometimes it's crazy. And you know, it, for me to watch that and feel like these emotions as like a 30-year-old woman, it was wild. I was like, I think Disney was onto something at some certain point, and they were a little bit ahead of their time, because
How old is this?
this was probably like
Wow, I feel like
early
I
2000s.
feel like I know which movie you're talking about because there's like one scene where he's like kind of spazzing out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I have seen this.
And he did so good at the acting. It's crazy.
I think what sparked the whole movie was us talking about that one movie.
The Color of Friendship. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. That was another movie. I mean, you told me about that movie, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it, like just to see what this is about.
Yeah.
And then I saw, I was like, okay, this is a little corny. But then I looked into it, and that's when I texted you, and I was like, this is kind of crazy. This is like a crazy movie because it's like based on a true story.
Yeah.
And the people that actually, you know, were in the back end of producing this film are like actually reputable Black people in the film industry,
Yes.
or even just like writers. I think one of the writers, he's like the writer from this book called A Raisin in the Sun. I don't know if you read that book. But he like, I think he did some of the writing for that movie, and it's just kind of crazy. Like, Disney was onto something then, you know?
They really were. I think they were really trying to like help us along the way. I think they knew.
But
Really.
okay, so here's the thing though. During that time, and it doesn't even watching it now, it doesn't feel so forced. It doesn't feel so shoved like down our throats versus now. I feel like Disney's doing a bad job at like representing things that they should represent.
Yeah.
They make it so obvious, and they don't give people of color or different people, like minorities, just like, they don't give them a good storyline. So they're not characters to love. They're just in the movie.
Yeah.
And then it just falls flat. And then, you know, nobody cares about these characters, and they don't want them to develop. So
the divide is really real.
Back then, though, I feel like back then they had some writers that were like making these good characters that you wanted to know more about them. You wanted to see them develop.
There were so many Black shows back then, though. Like when you think about like Sister Sister and like, Smart Guy and like the movies and all that other stuff, and even all that.
Yeah.
And like Kenan and Kel, like those were like
right.
mecca like shows that showed so much representation, but the backbone of that was like the culture.
Right.
Like, and I feel like they have lost that because of what's being kind of pumped out.
Yeah.
In a way.
Because now it feels like, now if you're doing that, it feels very like there's a mention of like what quote unquote wokeness.
Yeah, you're pushing an agenda of some sort.
And I don't like that. Versus like, yeah, you see something like Kenan and Kel, you don't even care that they're Black.
Yeah,
you just like, love what they're doing. They're funny.
Yeah.
And they're just people, you know?
I think social entertainment has really ruined a lot of the film industry.
Yeah.
Because people
like
find more entertainment on their phones or on their laptops than on a TV screen.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to have a wow factor now. You look at all these like dating reality shows and all these like other forms of reality TV. It's only getting more and more like cringier and desperate.
Yeah.
And like kind of sad to watch. And these people just don't mind putting themselves out there for the sake of entertainment or for $1.
Right.
It's like, okay, because any publicity is good publicity if you really think of it. And I think even the worst kind of publicity gets you more traction and pull
Yeah.
than good.
Yeah. That's why people are down to just like piss people off now.
Yeah. People are down to make a fool of themselves or embarrass themselves or potentially be in a vulnerable state of some way for clicks and
Right.
for cash.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where, you know, how can you make a film when people are literally out here doing, like, regular people are doing that for money?
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's a really tough time for just like all of it. And the trendy shit is really ruining a lot. Like,
I'm not gonna lie, I hate promoting the podcast. I hate putting all of my energy. I actually hate the video portion of the podcast, if I'm being really honest. The only reason I do it is because I have to keep expanding it in my head. I have to keep growing it. People are visual people. So in order for some person that might like it to eventually see it, it's going to be like on a clip or a video. And it's kind of tough, but I really just like having the conversation. I don't even like the camera portion. That makes me all self-conscious.
Of course.
Makes me all like, oh, I should probably do my hair more or something.
Right? That's when you were asked, that's why I asked earlier about the video. But I totally understand what you mean. Like,
yeah.
It does like, I hate that I have to have an Instagram for my art.
Yeah.
To like go to like a flea or just have a table or vend somewhere. Like, it is so annoying that I had to make an Instagram and then I have to actively post on it. And then I have to do this.
You have
or
to
that.
actively post. That's so annoying.
It is so annoying. I actually, that is the one thing that really deterred me the most from showcasing my art, is because I felt like I was being forced to have this second social media that I want to delete Instagram every fucking day. Like, I wish that I just could do it. And it's just because I talk to so many people, and honestly, the people that talk to me on Instagram know that I've been getting really bad at responding to them on Instagram, which I don't care. Text me, call me. I'm literally at the point now, it's like, if you have my phone number, please just text or call me.
Yeah.
But I keep Instagram because it's a way of communication. I feel like when you meet someone new in LA, it's the first thing you ask them after you start to like them is, do you have an Instagram?
How do I keep in contact with you?
And I actually I started not to mind that as much because I actually don't like giving people my phone number.
So you would say that's an LA thing? Because it's just like normal for me. So like, like people ask like, do you have an Instagram? I have never asked. I meet someone, what's your Instagram? Like,
yeah. And you know, it's gotten to the point where I will have a conversation with someone out and I will not ask them for they usually will ask me, and that's how it goes along. But like, I have so many people who I've actually met like through different interactions or different events or anything, and realize at the end of it, like, oh, I forgot to get their contact information because I just didn't want to ask about their Instagram. Like, I don't really, it's just like, or for them to say, I have one, but I don't really post. I actually like those people because it's like, well, do you have WhatsApp or do you have like something else? Because then we can keep in contact through that way. Rarely does that ever happen, but like, I would prefer.
Isn't it crazy how like people in our age group are like Instagram, and then like younger people, they don't even fuck with Instagram. It's like TikTok.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of gross. TikTok is like on steroids. It's so crazy.
It is its own beast that I don't think anyone can contain.
No, right? It's like so.
It's really powering the world right now.
It's triggering, honestly. Like, I feel like I'm gonna have a heart attack.
Jesus.
Like, I have a TikTok for this podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I never go on TikTok, but I just created it because I was like, fuck, like, maybe someday I'm gonna need to, like, go on it and post things. Or maybe I can automate, like, the clips and just have it posted to TikTok.
Oh my god.
Without, like, effort of being on it. Sense. But just even making it, I was like, I clicked on something and then immediately something else comes up, and then immediately after that something else comes up, and I'm like, whoa, can I just like breathe? This is wild. I don't like it.
I had a TikTok. I actually forgot the login to it, but and my ex convinced me to get one because he had one. And he was like trying to teach me about how it's actually like a very basic rudimentary level to like filmmaking. And that's how he sold me. I was like, this actually kind of makes sense.
Oh, because of like the editing and
yeah, and it does make sense. Yeah. It actually really is teaching a lot of production value and editing and stuff like that.
Yeah, I could see that.
Too much fucking work for me.
But yes, Instagram is the new like business card. That's how you keep in contact with someone. You don't even ask them for their number anymore. It's just like, or even their name.
Right? It's like, I'm sure, especially my name, I'm 1,000% sure that half the people I talk to don't know my name or even how to pronounce my name. And honestly, when I'm making friends, that's how I kind of
Lord Lucid?
My real name. It's like
your real name.
It's like, say Marquise. If you can say that, then we can be friends. If you can't, fuck off.
You have so many nicknames. I don't know which one to pick. Sometimes I'm overwhelmed. I'm like, Q, Keys. Queese.
Well, it's Queese. It's Queese. I prefer Queese. I tell people Q because I'd rather them say Q than say Keese or butcher my name.
Okay.
So I do let people call me Q. I think Q, I started using it a while ago, and now I'm getting to the point where I actually just don't like it because I've learned that I don't really respond to it sometimes.
Because you have so many nicknames.
I prefer Queese.
Okay.
That is like the basic. Like, I allow people to nickname me if that feels right for them, which I truly don't mind.
I don't like nicknames.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't mind it.
Well, I think because the only nicknames that people can really give me is like Lexi.
Oh, you don't look like a Lexi though.
I don't, right? It's ugly.
No, not ugly, but you don't look like a Lexi.
I don't know. I just feel ugly when I hear the name Lexi. Like, I'm just like...
You look like a Lex, maybe.
I don't mind Lex. My dad calls me Lex. Like, that makes me comfortable.
Yeah, you definitely don't give me anything with the I-E at the end, like, or I.
Yeah, I feel like... I don't know. I feel a little silly when I hear, like, names like that.
Or what about Ale? Or Al?
No. Al? I don't want to be Al.
That's fine.
That makes me feel like Al Bundy, so I just don't want to make myself more masculine.
It's funny, because...
I don't mind Alex, honestly, but nobody ever goes for it, so I'm like, it's fine. I mean, it is, like, part of my name, so...
I mean, Al is too. Weirdo!
I don't like Al.
That's fair. I don't like Mar. I truly do not like to be called Mar. No. Can't even say it, because I don't want to.
Mar.
I don't feel like a Mar.
So I just, like, don't feel like a Lexi, and I definitely am not an Alexa, so that is
Who calls you Alexa?
Dude.
Oh, I guess it's because people just automatically assume.
And then, not only that, but it's, like, older people that will say that. And then they'll be like, oh, it's funny, it's because I have Alexa at home, and I'm like, cool, like, that's really cool. Thank you.
I think the worst name that people think or call me, and they think it's so fucking funny, and I literally have the straightest face when they do it, is queef. And it's like, bro.
Oh, no.
It's like, I can take a joke, and I'm very funny. Like, but this is just so...
I'm sure it's just gotten old, too.
It is. It's just so like, old. Wow. It's not even cool. Out of all the names or nicknames, it's just like, try harder. Come on. Give me something better than that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I don't mind. Like, I'm hoping to retire Q eventually, and that everyone would just call me Queese. That wants to just call me Queese. Or if they want to call me by my full name, that's fine. But sometimes it makes me feel like I'm in trouble.
Yeah, right?
It's just a mouthful.
I don't actually like when people say my name at all.
Like
Alexis.
It makes me feel like I'm doing something wrong. It's like, what the hell? Like, I know I've done it when you said Marquise.
My full name?
Whoops.
There's only like a handful of people that will call me Lex, and I'm like totally comfortable with it, and they're like comfortable with me. Mm-hmm. So like it just feels right. And yeah, everyone else just won't say my name, which I'm totally fine with too.
I think people make nicknames up for me because they can't say my name, that's why I don't mind it.
I also don't like calling people by their names at all either.
Oh my gosh, I feel like For me, in boarding school, we would literally call each other by our first and last name often, except for like certain people. It didn't roll off the tongue. But like addressing or talking to someone about someone and just saying their full name was just so normal. So I actually enjoy like saying people's names.
Yeah.
Like, but I do enjoy, like, because I have many nicknames. I like creating nicknames for people too. It's quite fun. But I do enjoy like funny, weird nicknames or something that's close to my name, but not Keese. Sometimes I let people call me that if I've corrected them too many times.
I feel like I've heard somebody say Keese or call you Keese.
And let me just tell you, that person was not correct. Don't listen to
Which
them.
is why in my head I was like, okay, I guess that's another one of her nicknames.
It's because
like,
people
that
don't
makes
know
sense.
how to pronounce it. It's like you pronounce my name with like a KW sound.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't have a U. So most people, when they see it, they think it's just Keese because that's the way it actually is spelled.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you, Tyra Cleveland. It is Marquise.
Every time you say Tyra, I immediately think of Tyra Banks.
No, Tyra Cleveland, my freaking mother. She's done this to me. Literally, I had someone ask me, why do I pronounce it like that or something of that nature? And I literally pulled my phone out and was like, do you want me to call my mom so you can repeat that same thing that you just said to me?
The disrespect.
Like, dead ass. Tell her that shit. Because I have no words for you at all, but she will have plenty. Like, I don't know. I'm just here living the curse out, okay?
Right?
Let me live my fucking life.
Yeah. It's weird how many people fuck up people's names. It's a common thing for most people's names to get, like, fucked up.
I feel like because people fuck up my name so much, when I see a more difficult name, I'm more inclined to take the time to actually say it properly or ask the person.
Me too.
And just, like, hear the pronunciation of it.
And my name's not even that hard. It's really kind of sad that, like...
That's weird.
It's really embarrassing, actually.
It's clearly an IS at the end of that. My name, I totally understand. I do give people some passes, and like I said, I just, after a certain point, if I correct you enough times, like, I'm just not gonna correct you, and I want to, but there's just something in me that doesn't know how to, like, approach it without sounding like a dickhead.
Yeah.
And even though I'm constantly reminded that I should still do it.
Yeah.
I'm not a dickhead, it's my name. But, like, I get in my mind so much about it because it's like one of those things where I constantly have to repeat myself.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I feel like I just sound like a bitch when I repeat myself, no matter what I say. It's Marquise.
It's funny when people that know me, though, they get defensive about my name. So if somebody shortens it and does call me Alex, the person that knows me will be like, why are you letting them call them that?
And my best friend.
And I'm like, are you serious? I would prefer Alex versus Alexa, like, any day. Like, I don't care. If you're going to shorten my name to be Alex, that is half of my name. It's more than half of my name.
Yeah.
So
I definitely feel like my friends will definitely help me correct people. Even about, like, you know, just like the they them thing or whatever too. It's quite funny. It's like they're my bodyguards for that in a way. Because sometimes it's just like exhausting, and I don't feel like it. My name thing.
Some people aren't worth it, honestly.
Yeah, my
it's not
name
worth
thing. It's really like, am I going to see this person again? Are they actually going to be in and out of my proximity and seeing them to the point where I have to correct them? Then I will. Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
But if it's just like a one-time thing and they're leaving, I'll never ever see them ever again or anything like that, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
same.
It's okay. That's why I really want to drop the Q, because I feel like it gives people an out. They don't want, like, they're not saying it, so therefore they don't know how to pronounce it. And if they're not saying it quite often, then they'll slip up. I have had that happen where I've had, like, a close friend, like, slip up and say my name the wrong way, and I'm just like, but family members even do that shit too. They misspell my name all the time.
I feel attacked because I've been calling you Q.
No, you're fine. It's okay. I
feel like this whole segment was just for me to change my nickname for you.
Little hands.
You're like, so yeah, don't call me Q anymore.
No, it's totally fine. The people that I've told that can call me cute can call me cute, and I feel like it's like whatever. But if you really want to spend more time around me or in my life, learn how to say my name.
That's so funny. You're like indirectly, directly talking to me, and
no. Yes.
Yeah, you're like, get it right.
It's a difficult
That's
one.
fine. I'll do that as long as you don't ever call me Alexa.
I don't think that I would.
Yeah, I agree though.
I don't think that'll slip up.
I am more sensitive and empathetic to people that have complicated names for these reasons, because it's like emotionally draining sometimes.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, when you correct someone like 3-4 times in a day span,
have you ever thought about changing your name?
Yeah, in middle school.
Like when you were younger?
Yeah.
I did too.
You don't want to know what I want to change it to.
What? I do want to know.
I know you don't. I don't even want to talk about it.
Are you ashamed of it?
Yep.
Was it a white person name?
Absolutely.
Me too. I don't feel so embarrassed now. What was yours?
You first.
Okay. No. Okay, I'll say it. Mine was Rachel.
No! Oh my god! Okay, full disclaimer, mine was Jane, but it's funny because Stormy's middle name is Jane.
Okay.
And her name really, like, rings well. But thinking back on it, the way that I wanted to spell Jane was, like, John May, in a way. It was, like, J-A with, like, apostrophe M-E. Yeah. And, like, I really, like, I would have a little song that I would sing and everything. My name is Jane. Do-do-do-do. And I swear to God, I really want my name to be Jane. And I don't know where that came from, but I'm glad I grew out of it.
Me too.
I used to write Jane on my papers in middle school for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
And then I got told to stop.
I'm so glad, because that would have been humiliating and embarrassing.
Do you give fake names out when you're out, like, with your friends or out in, like, by yourself, and someone is like, hey, what's your name?
I'm like, honestly not quick enough.
Really?
Yeah.
I have 2 fake names.
My cousin has a fake name that she uses often. Hers is Sky. And
mine's is Sunny.
I think she has another one too, but
it has to be something like really easy and simple that rolls.
Yeah, for me, I just like don't I don't think about it. So I usually don't give like random.
What's your middle name?
Nicole.
Give them that one.
Yeah, I just like,
if I'm like out like at a bar or something like that, and somebody's kind of approaching or around or something, and I'm with friends, we all have fake names for when we're out.
Yeah.
And it's really funny. All my girlfriends do. But mine is Sunny. And then when I'm just like out on the street and someone like approaches me very randomly and I'm like stuck in that like moment and I'm just like, I'm panicking. I don't know what the fuck to do.
You're Jane?
I'm Jane again.
That's such an easy one to like remember. I might become a Jane too.
Do it. Think of a name that's like super easy to just like the first name you think of when you think of a girl.
I'm gonna just say Jane.
Jessica's also a very popular name, but
it's too many. Yeah, I don't like that one. It's like when I think of the name Jessica, I think of have you ever seen, I think it's called The Hot Chick with Rob Schneider.
Oh my god, yes.
And then he's like, Jessica. And that's just like all that I get triggered when I hear the name Jessica, because that's all I hear in my head. So
that's so funny that you're so disgusted by that.
I'm not disgusted. I'm just like, that's what triggers in my head, and I'm just like, oh my god, I cannot be a Jessica.
Imagine in like 10 years if we all just got rid of our names.
We're just numbers?
Yep. And we just started approaching each other with our social security number.
Would you like that?
I think that could be my last 4 digits. I think I could rock that.
What's your last 4 digits of your social?
I'm not going to tell you on this
kidding.
podcast.
I just wanted to see if you would do.
They do that shit on Twitter all the fucking time. It's like, come on. You don't want my identity anyway, so even if you wanted to take it, go ahead. You don't want this shit, I promise.
I know. Take my loans.
Yeah, you don't want this. Trust me.
I don't like it. I do like the names. I don't care for the last names. I don't like
I
this
love
whole
my
like
last name.
I don't like the whole like masculine thing like, oh, I need to have a son to carry my name. It's like,
I'm
ew,
gonna carry my name
get
regardless
over
what
yourself.
happens. 'Cause
I'm
it's
gonna
cool.
carry my name because Jesse has the same last name as me.
Lucky.
So I don't get to change
Listen,
anything.
you
I
sure you're not
am who I
related?
am. We checked the ancestry. Do not disrespect.
I had to ask because I could never, ever in my life be with another person with the last
With
name.
your last name. Well,
Hell
your last
no.
name is also not that common.
Fuck no.
So
And
mine
if you have my
is.
last name, we are cousins. That's all I got to say about
My
that.
last name's like super common. Plus, I am not an actual Chavez. Yeah.
Is this your mom's married last name?
Yes, but also my grandpa's grandpa or my grandpa's dad or something, he killed somebody in Mexico.
Oh.
So our last name isn't really Chavez.
They gave you that?
They changed their last name to cover up a murder.
Oh. Wowie.
Yeah.
Well, now you just exposed them. So
yeah.
Hopefully.
He's dead.
Okay. All right.
And so is my grandpa.
That's insane.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, you can Google my last name and literally like view my lineage to like the first guy. And his name is John Red Cross.
I thought his name would be John.
Of course it's
yeah,
John.
Right?
Of course, yeah.
Yep. I assumed.
Yep. Same. That I assumed as well.
All right, so we're actually over an hour.
Because we're just bullshitting.
I know, we're just talking shit.
But we're being seriously about it.
Seriously.
I'm being seriously.
You have to sing it closer to the mic.
I'm being seriously.
I like your jingle. It's good.
Oh, thank you.
I need every person to come on as a non-interview to like come up with a jingle.
I was just gonna ask, how's your jingle search going on?
Yeah, Jesse actually just made like a sound jingle.
Oh,
so
yay!
It's a new one. So
okay.
the show's gonna get some upgrades.
Now that is some seriously shit.
I hate it. I hate changing it. But I'm being forced to because I'm being kicked out of Spotify's platform. So I have to create all these new things like a jingle and
your jingle was so
basic.
I didn't want to say that word, but I wanted to say simplistic. I wanted to make it sound not like
You can hurt my feelings.
No, I didn't want to say it that way. I meant simple.
Honestly,
like it didn't seem like it had any copyright laws on it.
No, it definitely doesn't. There's interludes that Spotify offers to like every podcaster, and it's free. So I was like, this is cute. And then I'm gonna end it with this, and then that was it. Yeah. Okay. It was honestly, I wasn't attached to them.
Oh, okay.
So, but I did like that. Like, I want the beginning to sound cute, like playful, and I want the endings to sound a little country because maybe I'm a little country. I don't know.
What? Okay, I was not expecting that.
We'll save that for another episode.
Okay, I'm a little bit country.
I think it's because also like I just like my name again. It's so close to Texas.
Okay.
Maybe that part of me is a little country.
I mean,
I don't
feel
know.
like there's country aspects of LA with the culture and the people, especially like the Mexican culture. Mm-hmm. You know. But,
true.
Yeah, that country. I love that for you. You go country, okay? Yeehaw.
Alexis Texas, not the porn star.
I don't know porn stars' names. I just watch it.
Trust me, I learned the hard way. I was in middle school. My first email was alexistexas@hotmail.com.
Oh my lord.
Oh yeah. I learned.
Yeah. I don't like to know the porn. I know a couple, the ones that I like or know in person, but other than that.
We'll end here.
Yeah. Get to know your porn stars.